So tomorrow we are going camping for 2 nights. We're gonna go to Seminole Canyon and then we're gonna go to Big Bend. I've got the garage laid out with the outline of the bed of my truck so I can pack. This is literally our first time doing this, like camping 2 nights like this. I don't know what we need to pack. We're probably way overpacking, but I just wanna make sure we're prepared for everything for when we leave tomorrow morning. It was almost 80 degrees today. Overnight tonight, the wind is gonna be like 20, 30 miles an hour and through all day tomorrow. And tomorrow night, it's supposed to get into the 20s. So we're gonna have another situation where we're setting up a tent in the wind and then it's gonna be really, really cold. But I bought everybody some new sleeping bags, so we should be okay.
We started early Saturday heading to White Shaman Preserve, just west of Comstock, Texas. The White Shaman shelter is a rock shelter on a ledge high above the Pecos River. Inside, there are paintings that date back 10,000 years. The shelter is open for tours every Saturday, weather permitting, and tickets can be purchased online through the Whitty Museum, which is located in San Antonio. I'll put a link in the description. The tour does not include transportation to or from San Antonio, and all participants must be at least 12 years old and in good physical condition, as the hike to the shelter involves a 200-foot elevation change over about a quarter of a mile. We stopped for a quick rest to observe some painted figures on the canyon wall before continuing on to the main attraction. You actually descend below the rock shelter and have to climb back up to it to get inside. One of the guides said they used to have to climb up a rope to get into the shelter. It's amazing to think these paintings have been here for 500 generations. There's something special about being in a place you know has been inhabited by other humans for 10 millennia. And while the paintings are unfamiliar and strange to us, there's an element of storytelling in them that is undeniable. They were telling their story, just as I'm telling you my story now. After 20 minutes or so in the shelter, it was time to make the steep ascent back out of the canyon and move on to our campsite for the night. Seminole Canyon State Park is literally across the street from White Shaman. Our campsite was just 2 miles as the crow flies from the White Shaman cave. There are cave paintings within Seminole Canyon, but we knew the wind would present a challenge for us putting up the tents, so we set about doing that.
Well, you see behind me our kite. We're hoping it doesn't fly off into the desert somewhere. It's a little chilly.
A little? Oh, this a little?
A little windy.
Little?
The sun is about to set behind me. And we have all the tents set up.
We finished setting up just as the sun started to set, and we were able to rest our sore legs while we enjoyed the sunset. After having tacos for dinner, we relaxed by the fire until it was time to turn in for the night.
It is so freaking cold. I haven't checked the temperature, but holy cow, it's cold. My feet, even though I have 2 layers of socks on, my toes are still frozen. My back has been cold all night. I really don't want to get out of this sleeping bag, but I'm gonna have to.
It may get cold at night, but in the desert, as soon as the sun comes up, the temperature rises quickly. Minutes. After a good breakfast, we hit the road toward Big Bend. We were supposed to meet my friend Jeff in Marathon around noon. It was about a 2-hour drive for us. He was coming down from Lubbock and had left there before 8. About an hour into the drive, I got a text from Jeff letting me know he was having some problems. After getting gas in Marathon, we popped the hood on Jeff's Jeep and I helped him change the alternator. After a couple of false starts and having to jump him a couple of times, we were finally on the road into Big Bend. After entering the park, we'd turn off the main road onto Dagger Flat Auto Trail, which is a maintained gravel road. 2 miles down Dagger Flat, we would turn onto Old Ore Road. 12 miles down Old Ore Road would be our campsite for the night in Telephone Canyon. Dagger Flat is actually where this trip spawned in my brain nearly 2 years ago. We had taken a spring break trip to Big Bend and had rented a minivan, which we drove down Dagger Flat Auto Trail. As we passed by Old Ore Road and all of the other high-clearance 4x4 roads in the park on that trip, I found myself staring longingly down them, wondering what the world looked like in places that were only accessible by off-road vehicles. That trip was right at the beginning of the pandemic. I ended up buying my Tundra less than 2 months later and immediately started planning a return trip to Big Bend. Getting on to Old Ore Road did not disappoint, and it wasn't long before I had to pick a line up a stepped incline. Then Jeff taught me why Jeeps are so versatile off-road by just coming straight up the thing. was probably being overly cautious since it was my first time driving this type of terrain, but I'm also driving a full-sized stock pickup truck. That was way faster than I did it. The more rugged the road got, the more I found myself smiling and enjoying it. This was exactly what I had wanted when I bought this truck. The scenery was amazing, the weather was perfect, and I took it all in as we lumbered down the road. There's a lot of places on this earth that'll make you feel small. This is one of them. This is just gorgeous. As the shadows grew long, we inched our way closer to our campsite. With a late start out of Marathon, I was worried we'd lose sunlight before getting there. Then we saw the sign for Telephone Canyon, and within minutes, we were at our campsite. This is the Big Bend backcountry. We had only seen one other vehicle in the 2 hours it took us to get here. We were 2 hours of driving from any kind of help should something go wrong. There was no wind this time, so camp setup was easy. I started dinner and we enjoyed the sunset and explored the area a bit. It was below freezing again overnight, but I stayed warm and got up before the sunrise. Jeff and I had some time to catch up over coffee and a fire before everyone else started stirring. With mountains surrounding us, we didn't get the full benefit of the sun until after 9 a.m. broke camp and got on the road by 10. We still had 2 hours of driving before we'd be back on pavement. We decided to head south and finish the road rather than going back the way we came. I figured it would add 30 minutes at most once we got back on paved roads. The southern half of the road has long, flat sections where you can drive relatively fast, but the challenging parts definitely took more navigation to get through than on the northern half. Jeff in the lead, I was able to better see where I needed to slow down, take my time, and take a different line than him. Even still, I dragged the back of my truck several times because of the grill I had in the hitch receiver. Then there was this. I misread the ledge and landed on my running board. I also lost a bolt from my skid plate. Telephone and power lines are the mark of civilization. After 2.5 hours, we were nearly finished with our adventure. Only a 7-hour drive back to San Antonio remained. The desert scenery was gorgeous, and now that I finally have a true backcountry off-road adventure under my belt, I can't wait to go on the next one.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel.
Cold.